Welcome back to our channel, where history comes alive in every story we tell. Today, we're stepping into the world of a legendary figure, Confucius. But who was this man truly? A 2-meter-tall giant from Shandong? A master of both the pen and the sword, unrivaled in archery and charioteering, and with a legendary tolerance for wine? With 3,000 disciples under his wing, some say he spoke not just with words, but with the force of arms. Let's unravel the myths and journey back in time to discover the real Confucius. Born in 551 BC, he walked this earth until 479 BC, leaving us at the age of 73. His lineage traces back to no less than the founder of the Shang dynasty, Emperor Tang. Following the turmoil of the Three Guards Rebellion, King Qing of Shou sought to appease the Shang nobility. He ennobled the brother of the last Shang king, establishing the state of Song and Shangqiu. This makes Confucius's ancestral home in the Song state, present-day Shangqiu in Hunan province, a lineage as distinguished as it gets. Confucius wasn't born into the life of luxury often associated with great historical figures. His story begins in the modest village of Zhoui in what is now Tufu city of Shandong province. Born to an elderly father, Shuyang He, and a much younger mother, Yinjin Zai, Confucius's birth was mired in controversy. The significant age gap between his parents and their unconventional union meant that Confucius's early life was marked by social stigma. In fact, his family had to reside away from the main household, and his mother's status was not even equivalent to that of a concubine. Tragedy struck early. By the time Confucius was 3, he had already lost his father. The loss of the family patriarch meant that Confucius and his mother were cast out, forced to live a life of poverty in the outskirts of Tufu. At the age of 15, Confucius realized the transformative power of knowledge. He dedicated himself to learning, not just for the sake of knowledge, but as a means to change his fate. Yet, life had more trials in store for him. Just 2 years later, he faced another devastating loss, the death of his mother, Yinjin Zai. This plunged the young Confucius into even greater despair and isolation. Even in his attempts to integrate into society, Confucius faced rejection. Once, when he sought to attend a banquet hosted by the powerful Ji family of the royal court, he was turned away at the door, a stark reminder of his lowly status. Driven by necessity and the desire to honor his ancestors, at 19, Confucius made a pragmatic decision to marry Qi Guan, a woman from the Song state. This marriage, though born out of necessity, was a pivotal moment in his life. By 532 BC, Confucius had embarked on the journey of fatherhood. He had grown into a man of imposing stature. According to historical records, he stood at 9 feet 6 inches in ancient measurements, towering over the average height of men at the time, which was only around 5 feet 3 inches. Even by today's standards, Confucius's height of nearly 6 feet 3 inches would be considered remarkable. In his 20s, Confucius harbored aspirations to enter public service and restore his family's honor. He keenly followed the affairs of the world, often offering his unique insights on current events. His efforts finally bore fruit as he secured a position managing a granary, a humble beginning for his administrative career. The following year, his responsibilities expanded to overseeing pastures and livestock. Despite his capabilities, Confucius found himself underutilized and unrecognized in his roles, leading to a sense of frustration and unfulfilled ambition. In 525 BC, in response to these professional setbacks, Confucius took a bold step. He opened his own private school, laying the foundation for what would become a legendary career in teaching and philosophy. As he reached his 30s, Confucius's reputation began to flourish. His fame reached the ears of the ruler of the Qi state, who sought his counsel on the geopolitical dynamics of the era, particularly discussing the dominance of Duke Mu of Qin. This interaction also led to Confucius's acquaintance with Duke Jing of Qi. However, the era was one of turmoil and moral decline, as the traditional rites and music of the spring and autumn period were deteriorating. In this atmosphere of confusion and decay, Confucius embarked on a quest for knowledge and enlightenment, seeking teachings far and wide. In 518 BC, a pivotal moment came in Confucius's journey for wisdom. He sought to deepen his understanding of ritual and music, turning to two renowned figures of the time, Laozi for insights on ritual and Chang Hong for knowledge on music. This quest for knowledge was a testament to Confucius's lifelong commitment to learning and self-improvement. The following year, however, brought turmoil. A political upheaval in the state of Lu forced Duke Zhao to flee to Qi, and Confucius, ever the loyal subject, followed. In Qi, he caught the attention of Duke Jing, who admired and generously treated him. But, as is often the case, reality proved harsh. By 515 BC, Confucius found himself in danger. Hostile nobles in Qi plotted against him, and without the power to protect him, Duke Jing could only watch as Confucius hastily retreated back to Lu. At 37, Confucius faced yet another setback in his journey. The following years saw the near collapse of the spring and autumn periods' rites and customs. It was through these decades of trials and tribulations that Confucius gained a clearer understanding of life's various challenges, leading him to declare at the age of 40 that he was without doubts. 504 BC marked another turning point. The Ji family's power grew increasingly unchecked, with Yang Hu seizing control in a blatant display of authority. Disheartened by the prospect of serving under such governance, Confucius chose to step back. He dedicated himself to compiling and refining the classic texts of poetry, book, rites, and music. Accompanied by his devoted disciples, Confucius embarked on a journey through various states, sharing his teachings and seeking to influence a world in desperate need of ethical guidance. At the age of 51, Confucius finally saw the realization of his lifelong dream to serve his country. He was elevated to the position of Grand Secretary of Justice in the state of Lu, a role that allowed him to enact significant reforms. His most notable act was the execution of Xiao Zhengmao, whose corpse was exposed for 3 days, a decision that led to a period of great order and governance in Lu. However, in 498 BC, Confucius faced a formidable challenge. He attempted to weaken the power of the three families, Ji's son, Shu's son, and Ming's son, descendants of Duke Huan's sons, who had amassed significant influence. Confucius ordered the demolition of their fortresses, an act known in history as the demolition of the three estates. But this bold move faced resistance and ultimately failed, deepening the rift between Confucius and these powerful families. The following year, the situation in Lu worsened. The Qi state gifted Lu with 80 beautiful women and talented musicians. Duke Huan, captivated by these gifts, neglected his duties, immersing himself in music and dance. This negligence led to a fallout between Confucius and the Ji family. Even during official sacrifices, Confucius was excluded, a clear indication of his diminishing influence. At 55, left with no other choice, Confucius embarked on a journey through the various states, leaving Lu behind in pursuit of places where his teachings and wisdom would be valued. His first stop in 496 BC was the state of Wei. Initially, Duke Ling of Wei showed great respect for Confucius, providing him and his disciples with a stipend equivalent to that of Lu officials. However, he did not offer Confucius any official position or involve him in state affairs. A year later, rumors and slander turned Duke Ling suspicious of Confucius, leading to increased surveillance and distrust. Faced with such hostility, Confucius decided to leave Wei and return to Lu. In 493 BC, Confucius and his disciples set out once again, their journey taking them through the states of Wei, Chao, Song, Zhang, and finally to Qin. However, in Qin, fearing Confucius might be used by others if he left, and not wanting to bear the guilt of harming a sage, the ruler of Qin resorted to a desperate measure. He had Confucius and his followers trapped in a desolate area, cut off from all supplies. They were left without food for 7 days. It was only through the intervention of his disciple Zhigung, who sought help from the state of Chu, that they narrowly escaped death. A year later, at the age of 60, Confucius faced another challenge. While traveling through Zhang on his way to Qin, he was separated from his disciples. Waiting alone at the eastern gate of the city, his disheveled appearance drew ridicule from passers-by, likening him to a stray dog. But in the 8 years that followed, Confucius remained undeterred by the criticisms and continued his travels to Kai, Yi, and Wei, steadfast in his mission. At the age of 68, his disciples finally brought him back to Lu, ending his 14-year journey. He devoted the remaining years to teaching and compiling his works. By 482 BC, Confucius had reached the age of 70. Tragedy struck as he lost his wife, his son, and his beloved disciple Yin Hui. These losses deeply saddened him, but through these trials, Confucius claimed he had reached a state where he could follow his heart's desire without overstepping the bounds of propriety. 2 years after returning to Lu, Confucius faced another profound loss. His esteemed disciple, Zilu, tragically died in the internal strife of Wei, enduring a brutal end. These consecutive blows deeply affected Confucius, who sensed his time was drawing near. He had a final meeting with his disciple Zhigung, a poignant farewell as the end approached. On April 11th, 479 BC, Confucius succumbed to illness, passing away at the age of 73. He was laid to rest in the northern part of Lu, by the banks of the Sisui River. Confucius's life was marked by numerous setbacks and frustrations. During his decade-long travels to spread the teachings of Confucianism, he faced repeated rejections and often felt as lost as a stray dog. Yet, amidst these hardships, Confucius never wavered from his ideals. He persevered against insurmountable odds, driven by a vision that he knew might never be realized in his lifetime. His legacy, however, is immeasurable. He nurtured over 3,000 students, among whom 72 were recognized as sages. Confucius left behind an intellectual and spiritual treasure that would profoundly shape Chinese civilization and influence the world for millennia to come. As we conclude our journey through the extraordinary life of Confucius, we're reminded of the enduring power of ideas and the impact one individual can have on the world. His story, rich with wisdom and resilience, continues to inspire us centuries later. If you found this journey through history as enlightening and inspiring as we did, please give this video a thumbs up. Your likes greatly support our channel and help us bring more such fascinating stories to you. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear what aspect of Confucius's life intrigued you the most, or any other historical figures you're curious about. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell. This way, you won't miss out on any of our future explorations into the lives of remarkable figures from history. Thank you for joining us in rediscovering the life of one of history's greatest philosophers. Until next time, keep exploring and continue to seek wisdom in all corners of life.